September 27th, 2023. That's when Damian Lillard was traded away from the Portland Trail Blazers. This came after a trade request in July after Dame saw the Portland Trail Blazers prioritize building a young core over prioritize building around him. Now fast forward right now. A lot of people see this as a feel-good story for Damian Lillard and the Blazers. But slowly but surely, I think the Portland Trail Blazers are building a legit team out west that can start competing in the next few years. Now, I think there's a lot of people confused about what the Portland Trail Blazers are doing. Are they not supposed to be a super young team? Why are they signing Damian Lillard? Why are they trading for Jrue Holiday? And these are absolutely valid questions, but think to yourself more, what team also did something similar? A few years ago, there was a Western Conference team in the lottery that was very young, very athletic, and had a very deep prospect pool. They decided to add veteran players around their young core to help establish an identity and help establish a winning culture. That team was none other than the Houston Rockets. In 2023, they were a lottery team, then they added Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet, and every single year since then, they've gained at least 15 wins. And I know Dame's going to be out next year, but I think it's really similar to the Fred VanVleet signing. Right now, the Portland Trail Blazers don't have a lot of natural point guards, a lot of natural good decision makers. Scoot Henderson's there, but he's still developing. Having a steady and efficient ball handler like a Damian Lillard will be really important for them. He limits the overall mistakes on the floor, he helps control the tempo, he helps run the pick and roll. Think about the things that Fred VanVleet does in Houston. He helped table set the entire team, he helps get Şengün involved in the pick and roll. And obviously the Houston Rockets were banking on previously Jalen Green and then Amen Thompson to take on that role and eventually develop into that. But Fred VanVleet served as a beautiful bridge and helped those players develop in their own role. In a similar manner, I think Damian Lillard will take pressure off of Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe and let them play more natural roles. Another trait both of these guys have in common is that they both are high volume pull-up shooters. Obviously Damian Lillard is a bit better. And the ability to shoot and the ability to hit a pull-up three stretches out the floor so much and makes it so much more easier for an offense. It helps develops a lot of space and a lot of looks for the bigs, especially someone like Hanson Yang who will get a lot of looks in a short roll. In a lot of ways, the Houston Rockets signing Fred VanVleet was a way to open Şengün and fully unlock him. In a similar way, this could be the way that the Portland Trail Blazers unlock Hanson Yang in the short term. And what I like about this Blazers team outside of Dame now is that you have a lot of skilled players around him. Obviously this team is not going to be built around Dame, he might not even be a starter when he comes back. But now you see the idea of having a lot of skill around the floor, a lot of athleticism. I don't expect this to be a great offensive team, they still lack a lot of shooting talent, but when you get an advantage from Damian Lillard or someone like that, you're going to get a closeout from Deni Avdija or Shaedon Sharpe. You're going to have good players to finish these plays. And that's why I think Dame's such a great addition to this team. A lot of the Blazers core and team is a lot of play finishers, and now you have someone who can create advantages even if it's at a lower rate now that he's injured. And in a way, I guess you can say Jrue Holiday is kind of like the Dillon Brooks. He's a player who's comfortable taking tough shots and take a lot of grenades for the team. He's not going to be the most efficient shooter, the most efficient player, but he's definitely going to help set a tone defensively for this team. And I'll talk about the Portland Trail Blazers defense a bit later, but this is where they can absolutely hang their hat on the perimeter. Deni Avdija, Toumani Camara, and now Jrue Holiday. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but the prices for both of them were pretty cheap. They practically got Damian Lillard for the MLE. He's going to rehab in his home in Portland next year. And then Portland will basically get him for $13 million a year, which is an extremely good price even for Damian Lillard coming off an Achilles. Most metrics had Damian Lillard as a top 20 player last season, so if he can return at least 80% of that value, maybe you can get a top 50, top 60 player for only $13 million. And if I had to be honest, the most shocking part when I got the notification that Dame's going back to the Blazers is that he's playing under Joe Cronin again. They left off on really bad terms when Dame got traded. Dame obviously wanted to go to Miami and the negotiations were stuck. Come September, when trade talks looked dead, Damian Lillard requested to stay in Portland. And Cronin essentially still wanted to trade him and moved him to Milwaukee, where obviously Dame wasn't really happy. But it looks like Dame and Joe Cronin made amends last weekend, so that's nice to hear. Now the two Portland Trail Blazers with the most stress on the team next year are definitely Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson. They're the two highest drafted Blazers picks in the last decade, Scoot Henderson at number 3, Shaedon Sharpe at number 7. Scoot definitely had a disappointing first 15 to 18 months in the NBA, he just started off really slow. The main issue with Scoot is he doesn't look as athletic as people advertised him pre-draft. He definitely isn't a Russell Westbrook, John Morant, John Wall level athlete as a point guard, and I think that's what holds him back from being a true star. Now, there's still a lot of ways that Scoot can be a really impactful player. I think he has a lot of good drive and kick instincts. He's still pretty fast and he's really built, so he can put a lot of pressure on the rim and a lot of pressure on the defense. And I think to end the season, he did that a lot better as an overall playmaker. He was much more efficient with the ball in his hands. And since he's probably not going to be a dominating athlete or the dominating interior force that we thought he could have, him becoming a much better shooter like he did to end the season is definitely the path going forward. Teams were daring Scoot Henderson to shoot, going under on every single screen and daring him to take that pull-up three, but he was consistently making them pay to end last year. Now, with Dame out for 2026 and every time is traded, this is the year where Scoot Henderson needs to prove himself in year 3. If Scoot stops playing so frantic and plays more under control and with better pacing, which usually happens over time and more age, maybe we're looking at a good point guard at the end of the season. It's definitely been a little bit underwhelming in the first 2 years for Scoot, but I definitely think there's still something there. I still think there's a good player deep inside. Now, Shaedon Sharpe's another athletic guard, but he's definitely a different archetype. He's more of an off-ball player, more of a shooting guard. Now, I'm pretty high on Sharpe. He's a pretty absurd finisher, and when he's healthy, he can be an absolute closeout demon. He's a crazy athlete, and he can cover a lot of ground in a matter of seconds. For a player this young, his finishing is absolutely insane, according to every metric. He has elite vertical control, elite athleticism, and more times than not, you'll find him floating on air. Now, Sharpe does have a lot of things he has to fix though. His motor is pretty awful, he's a pretty bad defender, and he just doesn't provide much outside of his closeout attacking. But the natural talent is absolutely there, and if Shaedon Sharpe can become a good shooter, maybe 37-38% on good volume, you're looking at one of the best off-ball offensive players in the NBA. I'm really happy the Blazers took a big swing at pick number 16 this year with Hanson Yang. I think right outside the top 10 of the draft is a perfect time to take a swing on someone like Hanson Yang. A player who's very productive, a player who's very smart, a player with a lot of post moves, a lot of post work. Now, it was definitely the most risky pick that the Blazers could have done. He was a projected second round pick with clear athletic limitations. But as a guy who scouted Hanson Yang for over 3 hours a few weeks ago, I absolutely loved the upside here. The level of touch and coordination at 7 feet is extremely rare. Usually when you see these bigs, they're much smaller, like 6'8 to 6'9, like a Şengün or like a Derek Queen. This guy's a legit 7 foot, and he's even comfortable taking 3-point shots like we've seen in Summer League. When the Blazers drafted Yang a few weeks ago, I had 2 main concerns. The lack of playing time since they have so many bigs, and 2, the lack of point guards. Obviously, Dame will not help Yang as a rookie, but beyond that, they have some stable pick and roll guy to help him long term. And then they bought out DeAndre Ayton on an expiring contract, which I loved. You open up playing time for Donovan Clingan, who we'll talk about it in a minute, and obviously Hanson Yang. The Portland Trailblazers also acquired another first round pick by trading down for Hanson Yang, and now Portland kinda has a stockpile for picks going forward. In 2027, 2028, 2029, and 2030, the Portland Trailblazers can swap their first round pick for the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks lack a lot of young talent, and who knows, there's a good chance that Giannis is gone or heavily regressed by the end of the decade. Now, the one issue the Portland Trailblazers do have is Jeremy Grant's contract. At this point in his career, Jeremy Grant's not a very good defender, and he's not an efficient scorer. In fact, he shot 38% from 2 last season, the worst in the league. And he has 3 years left on his contract at an expensive $105 million. Now, if I'm Portland, I think you have to bench Jeremy Grant next season because of the wings I'm about to talk about. But more importantly, I think the Portland Trailblazers will try to use Jeremy Grant's contract in 2027 or 2028 as an expiring to get a big piece. They don't have many big contracts on that team, so having a guy like Jeremy Grant to match in a deal for a potential star or something like that will be huge. But as of now, it's definitely the biggest regret and one of the worst deals in the NBA. But there's one player on the Portland Trailblazers who I haven't talked about, and he's probably their best player. Deni Avdija was an absolute monster last year, averaging 17 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and he's one of the best offensive wings in the NBA. He's insanely strong at 6'8", he's kinda like a baby Braun, he just trucks over you. He has extremely good craft, extremely good touch, extremely good coordination, and a great handle. And he quietly emerged as the number 1 option for this Portland Trailblazers team to end last season. And I think Portland's going to fully embrace him as a point forward next season with no true point guard in the rotation. But they also got Deni Avdija for extremely cheap, not only in the trade for 2 first round picks, but his contract is great also. He's also improving as a shooter, he's a very good playmaker, a very good connected player, but more importantly, he might be a 20-point per game wing on the ball. And finding players with this size being able to finish like this is extremely rare. And if I had to say right now, he's definitely the building block of the future for the Portland Trail Blazers. He's also an extremely smart team defender, he's a great rebounder, and the entire wing core really possesses all these traits. I think with another year of him playing point forward with no Simons and no Dame, I could see Deni Avdija having another big leap and maybe getting to 20 points per game. But the player who really completes this core is Toumani Camara, maybe one of the best 3-and-D wings in the NBA. They got him in the Dame Lillard trade and he's been an absolute steal. He's one of the craziest wing defenders on the planet, he's 6'7" but moves like a guard on defense. He's extremely athletic, it almost feels like he's always in the play, he always recovers. He has an extremely strong core body so he doesn't get pushed off the spot like other wings. And for some of the top players in the Western Conference, like a Luka Doncic or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's a perfect cover. He absolutely wreaks havoc every time he's in the game, he has an insane motor, and he's just constantly a very fun player to watch. And now you add Jrue Holiday in the mix, and now you see why I'm so excited about this Portland perimeter defense. You have one of the best guard defenders ever in Jrue Holiday, you have one of the best wing defenders in the NBA in Toumani Camara, and then you also have one more piece. And that piece is none other than Donovan Clingan, who was one of the most impactful rookie shot blockers in recent memory. Donovan Clingan graded as a 92 percentile defender as a rookie. Clingan has an absolutely massive frame, 7'2", with a positive wingspan, and he's extremely broad, so it feels like he's taking up the entire paint. He's like a brick wall down there, he's kinda built like Rudy Gobert. He has great drop coverage instincts, he has some shot blocking, he can move his feet a little bit. But more importantly, Clingan is so technically sound for a player his age. He rarely makes mistakes on defense, and he's always in the right spot. Now he does lack some motor, which is why he doesn't play a lot of minutes. But if they're healthy, him and Robert Williams bring 48 minutes of elite rim protection, and then you add Gang for a different offensive element. And teams with really good rim protectors and really good perimeter defenders rarely fail on defense. And for a team this young and athletic, I can really see them make a mark and be one of the best defensive teams in the league next season. After the turn of the calendar, Portland quietly became a top 10 defense and started winning some more games to end the year. Add Jrue Holiday, add a year of experience, and carry that over, and maybe we can see that sustained over a full season. And while all the young players continue to develop and improve on offense, Damian Lillard will be waiting in the shadow for 2026. 99% of you guys watching are not subscribed, so I'd really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, comments about the video, I'd appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, obviously like it. Appreciate y'all for still listening. Thank you.